Hello, and welcome to Wong Kar-wai's Chungking Express. Now, Wong Kar-wai, for my money, is one of the most exciting filmmakers that has come out since I've personally been making films. His films have an excitement that, all the Hong Kong films kind of have a majority of excitement about them that's different from American films, but his are a little different. It's more like a Godardian influence to them, which is not the way most of the John Woo, Jackie Chan style of films are. So it makes them very, very different. I find his work very charging. When I saw Chungking Express was when I was with Pulp Fiction. I was at a festival in Stockholm. And I had seen a film of Wong Kar-wai's before called Days of Being Wild that I always really loved. And I heard he had a new movie coming out, so I was interested in seeing it. Well, that's where I saw it. And it just blew me away. I just absolutely adored it. I loved it. I love romantic films, and this film has just like this wonderful romantic comedy flavor to it, while at the same time being encapsulated in this crazy, frenetic Hong Kong world, which, as wild as the Hong Kong movies are when you see them in America, if you actually see them in Hong Kong, they don't seem so wild because that's kind of what life is on the streets there. It kind of has that pace. It's very strange. Anyway, well, the movie will start in just a little bit. Then what we're going to do is afterwards, I'm going to come back. And I'm going to talk about a couple anecdotes about the film and mention a few facts about Wong Kar-wai and some of the people in the film, and give you a couple more movies that if you like this one, you might want to check out. So I will see you after the movie's over. In the meantime, enjoy Chungking Express. Hi, I'm back. And I promised you at the head of this tape that I would go in a little bit more details about the film that you just saw. Now, a very interesting kind of story happened about how Wong Kar-wai made Chungking Express. He was doing this epic swordsman film called Ashes of Time. The stars basically every star in all the Hong Kong lexicon. It was taking him years to film it. Not years to film it, but it's taking him a long time. And what happened is he's doing this big epic. It's taking forever, and then he starts editing it, and editing it's taking him forever, and then it's just going on and on and on. And finally, he says, I can't see anything anymore. All I see is this big epic film I'm doing, and to kind of shake away the cobwebs. All right, he came up with an idea for Chungking Express, what we basically saw. All right, and said, let me just do this real quick kind of down and dirty movie that I can just kind of knock out and just kind of feel like push-ups more or less. Do that, and then I'll go back and be able to do my epic again. Well, that's exactly what he did. He got together, they shot Chungking Express fairly quickly, and just zapped it out and had a good time editing it, and all of a sudden, as opposed to this big epic he was doing, he did more of a fun, cool, quick rock and roll style film, and then that's exactly, and it worked out just the way he wanted it to. When it was finished, he went right back to doing Ashes of Time, his epic, with a whole renewed energy, that making Chungking Express gave him. And both films actually came out in Hong Kong around the same time. So it was literally just kind of a way to jumpstart his own stalledness, and you can see that in the film. The film has this kind of go for it, jumpy energy, that is exactly what he needed at the time. Now, if you like this film, other films that Wong Kar-wai has done that you should definitely check out is As Tears Go By, which was his first film, which is sort of a Mean Streets kind of story set in Hong Kong. And another film he did is Days of Being Wild, which is the first Wong Kar-wai film that I actually saw. And it's sort of again, it has a big plethora of actors. Tony Leung, who plays the cop whose apartment gets invaded by Fei Wong. He's in Days of Being Wild. And it plays like a Hong Kong version of American Graffiti. That's the film that I first saw him in and wanted to explore more of his work. All right. He also did Ashes of Time, which is available. And the film that he did after Chungking Express, basically at this moment, his newest movie, is a film called Fallen Angels, which again has a lineage to Chungking Express insofar as originally Chungking Express, like Pulp Fiction, was going to be comprised of 3 stories. But he ended up liking the 2 that he had, and that ended up being story enough. Fallen Angels, more or less, is the 3rd story he would have filmed for Chungking Express if he had done 3 stories. So, if you like Chungking Express, then definitely check out Fallen Angels, because it's more or less the continuation of it. Now, Some of the gals in this movie, let me give you some info on them. Bridget Lynn, who was the woman with the blonde wig in the film, she is more or less considered the Greta Garbo of Hong Kong, and she deserves that title perfectly. She's one of the most charismatic stars, I think, in the world. And she kind of has that, she doesn't look like Garbo, but she has that wonderfully statuesque face. Thing is, you might have seen her in one of her first movies that came out was Peking Opera Blues, one of the greatest films ever made. Peking Opera Blues is a blast. It's a lot of fun. She's in the first Jackie Chan Police Story. But then what happened with her was, as time went on, her career started kind of like fading out a little bit. But then she did a movie called Swordmaster 2, all right, along with Jet Li. Now, the thing is, in that movie, she played a male who was ascending to like this godlike position, all right? And the only way to attain this godlike position was to castrate himself, all right? And she played the castrated male god in the movie. It was a smash in Hong Kong and all over the Orient and made Bridget Lynn a huge star. However, she started this whole thing in a series of movies where basically she's almost always playing either a god, a force of evil, a force of nature. She's playing a woman passing as a male, or in the case of like Swordsman 2 and its sequel, The East is Red, actually playing a male. All right, that cross-dresses like a woman. That's like she's cornered this market in China playing these kind of movies, and it's she's fantastic. She's really great. She's one of the few human beings that can pull off playing God like that. Other movies that she's done that you might want to see, like I said, there's Swordsman 2, its sequel, The East is Red. She plays, she's the lead in The Bride with White Hair. The Bride with White Hair, and also check up Peking Opera Blues. She's very, very good in that. All right, oddly enough, also check out Ashes of Time. She's excellent in that as well. Oddly enough, in this film, this was her last movie. She quit, basically, the business after this film and got married. So this was her farewell song. And she normally doesn't wear the blonde wig. The reason that Wong Kar-wai wanted her to wear the blonde wig is for two reasons. One, he liked the idea of having the Chinese garbo mask and dark glasses and a blonde wig, so she's almost recognizable from her normal persona. All right. And two, this character was a homage to the Jenna Rollins character in John Cassavetes' Gloria. Wong Kar-wai loves that movie, and this character was set up to be his Gloria. All right. The other female lead in it, that perky little nymphette, all right, that takes over that poor guy's apartment, is Faye Wong. Now, this was Faye Wong's first movie. Faye Wong, though, is the single most popular rock star, all right, in Hong Kong right now. She's a huge smash recording artist, and this was her first movie. And she's known as the Madonna of Mandarin, and this was her first feature, and she just stole everybody's heart. She won Best Actress at the Hong Kong Film Awards. She's great. She's great in the film, and the Chinese version of the Cranberry song that you hear in the film is actually sung by Faye Wong. And I'm sorry, I don't think I'll ever be able to see California Dreaming again without seeing Faye Wong do her little dance. It's, she's the best. Everyone, I don't know anybody who hasn't seen this movie that hasn't gotten a crush on her. Now, the thing that you should understand about Wong Kar-wai's style and what makes it different from the majority of films coming out of Hong Kong is almost all the Hong Kong films are either wild, crazy comedies, wild, crazy fantasy films that have a very Sam Raimi kind of style, and then what's become the John Woo, Ringo Lam, action films. All right. Well, Wong Kar-wai has all that same energy that this Hong Kong tends to bring to its cinema. But he's also taking a cue from the French New Wave films of the late 50s, early 60s, the films that Godard did, the films that Claude Chabrol, Eric Romer, and Francois Truffaut did in their early days. All right. In particularly, Godard is his man. The film, his style, his kind of sense of fun, is what he brings to the film, and it's so. I got to tell you, it's just very different in looking at Asian cinema to see the mix of French New Wave inside of that. The thing about the French New Wave is a lot of you might have heard of the term, but not know exactly what it means. All right, with the French New Wave, it was a group of young filmmakers that came out in France who were basically, they were rebelling against what they considered the bourgeois cinema of the French studio system. All right, and their way to do movies was to take genre pieces and then just kind of break the rules, make, kind of like they have a feeling of making them up as they go along. They weren't studied in film school. They were studied from film criticism and films. And when you look at a lot of those films, they have an infectious quality, almost like if you just love movies enough, you don't need to study. Loving movies is enough to be able to make a good movie. Well, that in its own way is pretty much the style that Wong Kar-wai has brought to Hong Kong films. Now, if you liked Wong Kar-wai's films, you should definitely check out some films of Godard. All right, and some films along the same lines that he did are the original Breathless with Jean-Paul Belmondo, A Band of Outsiders, which the French title was called Bande Apart, which is what my company, A Band Apart, is named after, and another film called My Life to Live. Uma Thurman's character in Pulp Fiction was not too dissimilar from Godard's wife, Anna Karenina, who is in a bunch of his movies and had the same kind of haircut. Anyway, that's it for the first film on the Rolling Thunder video collection, Chungking Express. And we'll see you next time with our next film, Jack Hill's Switchblade Sisters.